Our next storyteller, his greatest passion is bringing out the best in others and influencing them in a positive way. He'll be sharing with us a story from his experience and remarkable journey to Booking.com. Please welcome to the stage, Kenneth.
Three things. Where have you been? And where are you now? And where are you going? I will share a brief piece of my life story with you to just show you that maybe it relates with you as well. But it did not happen to me. Rather, it happened for me. I was born and raised in Uganda, and I'm one of 4 children. For the most part, we were raised by my single mother. Our dad left when I was 4. My biggest brother was 6. My youngest sister was 2 years old. And my youngest brother was 2 weeks old. And Dad left for the United States. He did well in providing for us, but he was not present physically. Of all the other children, I felt I needed his presence the most. Why? Because I think I was the most hyper. If I was in Europe, maybe they would have labeled me as having a... They would have given me a label. But I got in trouble growing up with the community, the police, and even the local councils. I stayed in school, my grades were good, but I just felt I needed a father figure in my life. There are things I felt a father should teach me, and I had to learn them the hard way. I was so confused and lost. I was so messed up and negative about life. But I had this desire to travel and see the world. I tried several times. In 2009, it happened. I got a visa to come to Europe. When I got on that plane, my mind was made up. I wasn't going back to Africa. I got to the Netherlands. I was excited. I was fired up, but equally naive. I entered an asylum procedure as a means to integrate myself into the Dutch culture. And this, by far, was the most challenging thing I've ever had to do. We all work at Booking. By show of hands, let's see, anyone who has ever done an interview? Anyone who has ever done an interview? Just let's see by show of hands. Thank you. And if you've ever done an interview that lasted 1 hour, keep your hand up. 2 hours? 3 hours? 4 hours, 5 hours, 6, 7 hours. Give that man a hand. He knows what I'm talking about. My first immigration interview lasted 7 hours. And then I had to do a second interview on another day that lasted 8 hours. And after that, I was put in an asylum seeker center in Winterswijk, where I had to wait for a decision for me to start the integration process in the Netherlands. Waiting for me to have permission to have a job. Waiting for permission for me to go back to school, have a house, and live my life. And after 2 years, I got a letter telling me that my request had been denied and that I had 10 days to leave the Netherlands, or else I would be arrested, detained, and deported. 7 days into the 10, I hear a knock on my door at 6 o'clock in the morning. I ask, who's that? They say, immigration police. Open up. They told me, as of this point, you're illegal in this country, and we are taking you with us. I was taken to a police station and later put in a detention center in Zeist. After I'd been presented to a judge, obviously. And I spent 10 months in detention. Now, I was messed up. I was so lost about life. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going for me. To the extent that if you would put me in a dark room, I think I would have developed into photographs. I was that negative. Matter of fact, I could teach someone how to be negative. I was that good. I could coach someone how to be negative about life. But one day, this detention experience, it's the hardest thing I'd ever had to go through. Days felt like weeks. And weeks felt like months. And months felt like years. And I was there for 10. But one day, I'm in the detention center. And I saw a poster on one of the walls. I don't even know who put it there. But it said, what would you think if I told you that everything that has happened in your life to this point has had a part to play in your ending up here? And what would you say if I told you that right now, right here is where you're supposed to be, in order for a future that you cannot even start to think about to come into play for you? I stood there and looked at that statement with my mouth open. It hit me. I thought about my life just like I was looking back on a movie. And that one statement got me on a journey of soul searching, of looking within myself to see what else was in there, apart from the mess and confusion. And I was amazed. I realized that there are unique gifts in me, that I was an encourager, that I was positive, that I was persistent, that I was determined. And when this period was over, the 10 months, they said, you're free to go. But I was still undocumented. But I did not need to hear it from anyone. I knew it like the back of my hand, that I was better, and that I was wiser, and that I was positive about life, and that something had changed. To the extent that if I could look back now and have a choice to have it any other way, with less stress or less pain, I wouldn't change one bit. Because it has got me to where I am. I cannot say it happened to me. After this whole experience was over, I started doing voluntary work, just focusing on other people's problems. And I did this for almost 2 years, actually. But I was thinking now, what next? I think I've had it. I'm ready to go. And during the time that I was doing this voluntary service, I met someone. And we started a friendship that blossomed into the friendship of love. She was finishing up a master's program at that time. And I told her, look, I think my time is up here. And I have to go back to Africa. And she said, if you're going, then I'm going to abandon everything and we'll go together. I told her, my mind is made up. I am going. I went and approached the offices I needed to approach. And within a couple of weeks, I was back in Uganda. But we went together. And while there, we applied to the IND. And they granted me a resident permit within 30 days. What took 5 years happened in 30 days. And they said, you can come back. I came back, I found a job and I started working. And eventually, I came to Booking.com. And I'm standing before you today. I don't know what it is you're up against. I don't know what you're having to deal with. I don't know the pain that is in your life. I don't know the situations that are up against you. But I know one thing. The power to interpret that situation that you have is greater than the situation you have to interpret. And whatever happens, never interpret your life in a way that does not empower you, because you have the choice. Looking back, I cannot say that this whole thing, sometimes we say, do you know what happened to me? I have got to the point that I say it did not happen to me, but rather it happened for me. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Kenneth.